Shalom. I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Alright, so this is your brother Samad coming to you with another lesson in transit. The spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Lord willing, brothers and sisters, be edified. So today's lesson I wanted to talk about proving your actions through your faith and the importance of showing your faith by your works. You can't claim to be a man of the Lord if your actions do not follow that saying. You can't say that you are a godly man if you're a man after Yahweh's heart or Yahweh's heart. If you're set apart, peculiar. You can't say these things if you're still living like those that are of the world. Morally, mentally, spiritually, physically. Because what happens in the spirit manifests in the flesh. Simple. So, okay, what is one way that you contradict that saying? Just like the elder apostles are going into it. Elder Apostle Gabar has been going into it heavy, and the Apostle Tahar as well. They've been going heavily into health and wealth, right? So, Apostle Gabar did a lesson. He was on a walk and talk, I believe it was yesterday. And he was talking about how there's no reason why brothers in Great Millstone, and really brothers in general, doesn't matter what camp you're in. Brothers, if you claim to be a follower of Yahweh Shai, you claim to be a man of the Lord, a peculiar man, well, you have to live like that. And you can't let these heathen outwork you. You know, you got these heathen out here, and 2/3 of our people are that they take better care of their health and their body than you do, and they do it for vain reasons. We do it because one, it's the vessel and the temple of the Lord that He has given us, and we need to treat it with respect. And the Lord gave us dietary laws, and He also gave us, moral, spiritual laws like don't be a glutton, don't be lazy, slothful, and a lack of bodily exercise is lazy. It's laziness, man. Brothers like to use the curses as an excuse, and it's not an excuse. It's not, because the curses, although we are under the curses, one thing that we are also under is liberty. And you have the liberty and the freedom to decide if you want to eat Cheetos or not, to decide if you want to eat cookies and cakes and ice cream and pizza all day, every day. You have the liberty and freedom to decide if you want to sit on your ass all day, excuse my language, and just do the bare minimum. No. You have to put that work in, spiritually, mentally, and physically. What is the saying? One of the Stoics, and I believe, quote me if I'm wrong in the comments, I believe it was Socrates that said, "It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the strength and beauty that his body is capable." And that's a very profound statement, because it is a shame. As a man, one of our main purposes in life, obviously outside of, being a man of the Lord, which is to serve Yahweh through His Son Yahweh Shai, another one of our main purposes is growth. Solving problems, accomplishing new things, learning new things, reaching new heights. These things give men a sense of fulfillment in life. And without that, we're nothing. We're meaningless. A life of comfort is not a life worth living, for a man at least. Although we have certain comforts, a life that's just full of comfort and comfortability is not a life worth living, because there is no growth in comfortability. Comforts are a tool that we use for rest, to recover, so that we can then get back to work, so that we can produce, create, cultivate. Comfort is for the women and children. And as a man, it is your duty to make sure you can provide that for the women and children in your life. So brothers need to have a good diet, man. I'm not saying you got to be 100%, because I'm not 100%. I strive to be, but we're in the flesh. Sometimes you're gonna have cravings, and sometimes you're just gonna fall to those cravings. But at least I like to say, if there are 10 things that you should do to live a healthy life, me personally, I think that you should do what's the saying? How does the saying go? There's a saying, right? You should do 80% of the things 80% of the time. I think it goes like that. It's not 20, it's not 80-20. It was something like you should do. Oh no, I got it. You should do. It's either you can do 100% of the things, the right things 80% of the time, or you can do 80% of the things 100% of the time. Me personally, I think you should do 80% of the things 100% of the time, rather than doing everything right, but you're not consistent 100% of the time. You may take a day or two off here and there. I think that you should have, if there's 10 habits to lead a healthy life, I think you should do 8 out of those 10 things at least, but every single day, versus doing 10 of those 10 healthy habits, but only 4 or 5 days out the week. You see what I'm saying? And what can be an example of the 2 things that you don't do, right? Let's say out of those 10 habits, the 2 things you don't do is, let's say you like to fast, you like to intermittent fast, and you like to eat within a 6-hour window, and you like to eat afternoon. Well, if you just decide to wake up one day and you decide you want to eat breakfast, you want to eat an early breakfast, or you might want to, you just decide to eat 1 extra meal that day, later in the day, that's okay. But guess what? You still stick to the certain dietary habits, making sure you're getting your protein, making sure you're keeping your carbs to natural carbs, unprocessed carbs like sweet potatoes, russet potatoes, fruits, certain veggies, right? You keep it simple to that. You make sure you cook your food, right? That could be another healthy habit. But let's just say it's a day where you ain't got the time and you out and about and you need a quick bite. Well, one of those healthy habits is they cook your own food, but you can't right now. But you then make sure, all right, I'm going to eat at certain restaurants that I know don't use seed oils, or I'm going to cook at certain restaurants that I know I can get some kind of grilled protein with roasted vegetables, and you know what I mean. So you're still eating within your same healthy habits. That's kind of how you should balance it out, G. Do 80% of the healthy things 100% of the time, and you'll succeed, man. Train. I don't care if you can have a routine, and I don't care if you only do 4 out of 5 exercises or 3 out of the 5 exercises. Move your body and push yourself for those 3 exercises. I think some motion is better than no motion. All right, James says that faith without works is dead. All right. You say that you have faith. Well, I will show you my faith by my works. Because talk is cheap. Any brother can say they're this and they're that, and they're not this and they're not that. But you know what? It's hard to hide actions, habits. Those things happen organically, naturally, subconsciously. You don't even think about them. If somebody has nasty habits, it's going to show regardless if they want to or not, unless they're actively working on those habits. But again, if somebody says that they don't do a certain thing, but then the habits show otherwise, then they're just a liar. But if somebody can admit that, I got a bad habit of doing this, but I'm working on it, and you really see them working on it, so when you do see the habit slip out, you don't condemn it, because they've already acknowledged that it was a fault, and they're working on bettering it. And you see them, right? So that's us. So you got to make sure that you put in that work. You got to make sure that you're staying consistent. All right. The scripture said, exhort one another daily. So our Lord, we will in this lesson, brothers may be exhorted to do better, to be better. Because I watch certain brothers' lessons and I feel compelled to better myself. You got to be self-conscious in this truth, man. In the world, people are subconscious, but to a fault. We need to be subconscious, but to our benefit. Meaning, like, we're subconscious, but we're not insecure. We're subconscious because we look inward and we're constantly examining ourselves. As the scriptures say, examine thyself daily, whether you be in the faith. So you have to examine yourself consistently. You have to be your best critic. I don't want to say worse, but you have to be your own best critic. You have to be constantly checking yourself. A spiritual man is judge of all things, but of no man he is judged. Why is that? Well, that spiritual man, because he's judge of all things, he's judging himself first and foremost. So he's already checking and evaluating his habits and his mannerisms and his actions so that he can be blameless. So that no man can sit here and try to check him or correct him on something. He's already been corrected. Now, granted, it's not going to be 100% of the time, but majority of the time, when you got a brother that's on point, it doesn't mean that he's perfect. It just means that he's always on point. So usually when he makes a mistake, he catches it before anyone else does it. He corrects it. So that's why you have to be subconscious in this truth. And you got to get rid of that pride, man. When a brother comes to you and he's telling you about your errors and your faults, and this is a brother that's been around you for a very long time. He's unbiased and he genuinely just wants to see you succeed, man. Just heed the advice, heed the reproof, even if you don't believe it to be true. There's a way that seems right into a man, but the end of the ways are death, man. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's always death, but a lot of times we think that we know it all, but we don't. Especially about ourselves. Sometimes we like to think that we know ourselves, but we don't. Sometimes there's going to be things that people recognize about you or notice about you that you don't notice about yourself. And you got to have the humility to be able to accept when you don't know it all, or when you have a flaw. But guess what? There's a lot of things, unless it's a physical flaw that can't be changed, there's no reason to feel offended. Because you can correct it. So yeah, that's pretty much the point. Don't hate hard work. Don't abhor labor, hard work, discipline. All these things are food for the spirit, man. And they're things that are going to get you to your greatest potential, man. Brothers, you should be praying for the Most High to bring out your greatest potential and give you the strength to overcome all the trials and tribulations, to give you the discipline to stay consistent. So, Lord willing, this video is edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and come on to the elders and apostles, and shalom to the elect.